In recent years, North Korea has become increasingly isolated globally due to imposed sanctions, effectively severing ties with the rest of the world by lacking access to the global banking system and the internet. With a strong focus on expanding its nuclear arsenal, the country's economic growth remains stunted despite facing challenges like limited oil and gas reserves and outdated industrial infrastructure. Despite these hurdles, North Korea persists in its quest to assert its presence on the global stage, albeit remaining stagnant in its development and viewed with caution by neighboring countries. The nation enforces strict codes of behavior and dress, prioritizing a national community ideology over fashionable trends, which glorifies revolutionary ideals and reinforces the absolute authority of its leader. The word Ju, symbolizing mastery, and She, representing the body, reflect an assertion of control over both oneself and the surrounding world, underscoring North Korean culture's strict guidelines for living. This marks a fundamental difference from South Korea, which historically operated as a unified state until the mid-20th century, when events led to its division into the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the north, emphasizing socialist development, and the Republic of Korea in the south, embracing democracy and a market economy. Today, these two states exist in vastly different political, economic, and cultural landscapes, each regarding the other as an occupier of its historical territory. It's both remarkable and unfortunate that two countries, deeply connected by shared history, language, and ethnicity, are now entrenched in irreconcilable enmity, making the prospect of their reunification seem remote. The lives of Koreans who have embraced a planned economy are carefully shielded from external scrutiny, with minimal information available about North Korea's economic development, as the government refuses to disclose data to the public. Despite this secrecy, some information does manage to trickle out into the global community. It's astonishing that the animosity between former brethren outweighs any hostility towards past occupying forces. Until the late 19th century, Korea remained a vassal dependency of China, paying tribute and seeking approval from the Chinese emperor. However, the situation changed after the Sino-Japanese War of 1894-1895, which saw China losing its influence over Korea. By this time, Korea had evolved into an absolute monarchy with feudal characteristics and limited elements of a capitalist economy, remaining closed off from the outside world. Japan, eyeing Korea's strategic location, exerted economic and cultural dominance after signing a treaty of annexation in 1910, effectively making Korea a Japanese colony. Despite Japan being perceived by many Koreans as a symbol of progressive civilization, there was a simultaneous rise in anti-Japanese sentiment, catalyzed by the October Revolution in Russia in 1917, which sparked interest in socialist ideals throughout Asia. Following Japan's defeat in World War II in 1945, Koreans anticipated the declaration of national independence, but instead their country was liberated by Soviet and American forces, rather than through the efforts of their own people, marking the formal end of colonial rule in Korea. Koreans found themselves stripped of genuine power as the political destiny of their nation was shaped by the USSR and the USA. In August 1945, an agreement was reached to partition the Korean peninsula's military zones along the 38th parallel. Insisting on American influence, the US State Department designated all territories south of this line, including the capital Seoul, as falling under its control. Stalin acquiesced, setting the stage for a protracted division of the country. By the early 1950s, North Korean leader Kim Il-sung actively advocated for the military seizure of South Korea to achieve reunification, triggering the Korean War, the deadliest conflict in Korean history. Despite its ostensibly localized nature, the war drew the attention of major world powers, with both the USSR and the USA vying for dominance over Korea. Internal efforts by Korean leaders to reunify the nation proved futile and only served to deepen the schism between the two states. Following the division, North Korea inherited a territory spanning 120,000 square kilometers, while South Korea possessed 100,000 square kilometers. However, labor resources were predominantly concentrated in the south, where the population outnumbered that of the north by twice since 1950. South Korea has undergone a remarkable transformation. from an impoverished agrarian nation to a technologically advanced state with a robust economy in just 2 generations. Meanwhile, North Korea, isolated from the world, has remained among the poorest countries globally. Life in North Korea, while not lacking in intrigue and diversity, falls short in many aspects. The majority of its population is employed in heavy and light industries, the service sector, and agriculture, with priority given to the military-industrial complex, resulting in excessive militarization and economic stagnation. During times of crisis and food shortages, ordinary citizens are forced to sacrifice their livelihoods for military needs, exacerbating the country's shortage of food and other essential resources. Currently, approximately 40% of the population requires humanitarian aid, with acute protein deficiency posing a significant health concern. To address food shortages, North Korea relies on artificial meat made from processed soy. Studies have revealed that North Korean preschoolers are, on average, 13 cm shorter and 7 kg lighter than their counterparts in South Korea. In North Korea's high-rise apartment buildings, access to hot water is often unreliable, and elevators only operate during peak hours. However, while apartments are freely distributed by authorities in the north, in the south, the average resident must save for 14 years to own a home. Additionally, acquiring a car in North Korea is nearly impossible, leading bicycles to serve as the primary mode of transportation, despite only 3% of the roads being paved. North Korea lacks Wi-Fi and computers lack USB ports for flash drives. South Korean media and interactions with representatives are considered crimes. Reports suggest North Korea even employs anti-aircraft guns for defection attempts, though not officially confirmed. Limited information about the outside world reaches North Korean residents, who may access a restricted internal internet system called Kwangmyeong. Much of the country lacks internet and electricity, with consumption significantly lower than in the south. The question of reunification's time and effort remains open, with estimates suggesting costs of up to $1 trillion to equalize living standards. As time passes, the political, economic, and cultural divide between the two countries may widen further. The current leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, endeavors to uphold a positive image despite facing formidable challenges. Despite lacking complete technical and industrial self-sufficiency, the country persists in engaging in external trade despite its isolation. Over the past 2 years, external trade volume has declined by 17% to $713 million. North Korea's main trading partners include China, South Korea, Russia, and Singapore. However, relations with these partner countries have strained after missile and hydrogen bomb tests in 2017. The international community has imposed 5 sets of sanctions against North Korea, prohibiting exports of oil, iron, steel, and mining equipment, as well as imports of food, timber, ships, textiles, and other goods. These restrictions have significantly impacted the country's economy. Nonetheless, North Korea maintains its stance of retaining nuclear weapons and seeks to evade sanctions by falsifying cargo receipt documents and engaging government-affiliated trading networks in illicit trade. The coronavirus pandemic has also impacted North Korea's economy. Border closures resulted in an 81% decrease in trade with China, leading to a drop in Chinese exports to North Korea to $500 million. Additionally, Russia has reduced its trade volume with North Korea. Since North Korean minerals are not in demand in the Russian market, exports to Russia primarily consist of chemical and machinery products. North Korea also trades with third world countries, exporting steel, iron ores, coal, seafood, electronics, household chemicals, and textiles to nations like Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea. North Korea's military-industrial complex, based on Russian developments, remains in demand as it supplies various types of weapons, ammunition, and military equipment. However, despite the fundamental principle of equality, significant inequality persists in North Korea, with citizens struggling for survival, while state leaders' wives enjoy luxury clothing. North Korea appears to stand at the closed door to a new world, long intimidated by the hostile global environment and believing in the necessity of isolation. However, in the foreseeable future, it may become necessary to cautiously embrace a new reality. The pace of growth and development is accelerating, and even the traditionally conservative government of North Korea acknowledges the inevitability of change. Presently, North Korea teeters on the edge of significant transformations, yet the specifics remain uncertain. On one hand, the authorities persist in fortifying an impregnable state, emphasizing isolation from external influences. Conversely, there is a growing discourse around the well-being of the populace, shifting focus from mere military victories and rhetoric to broader concerns. Attitudes towards the world are undergoing change, hinting at a shift in perspective. It appears that the people of North Korea are already anticipating these forthcoming changes. Thank you, dear friends, for joining us in this historic exploration of North Korea.